2, 1. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the second take of Cardboard Box Theory number 54. That's right. You heard it here first. That's the second take.
Yeah.
We did a podcast last week. It wasn't bad. We just didn't feel like it was.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just wasn't up to the quality.
Yeah, we don't want to put out shit content for you guys. We want to give you some good content, good stuff to talk about, good stuff to listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we're going to dive into the first topic here. When I die, she could fuck my hologram. If you know that lyric, you'll know what we're about to start talking
Shout
about.
out to that.
So, in the news, I was scrolling through the news the other day, Michael, and an article popped up saying that Whitney Houston is going to go on tour again. If many of you didn't know, Whitney Houston died before you were even born, probably.
Yeah, she is very, she's deceased. No pulse at all. Nothing like that.
Accidental drowning she died from.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
She died in 2012. She died pretty recently. So a lot of you were born when that happened.
Yeah, man.
I thought she died a lot earlier. But no, she was famous for dating Bobby Brown. She's one of the best vocalists of all time. You've probably heard her at any grocery store you've walked into your entire life, probably.
She overdosed.
Yeah, the red nurse. Terrible. That's a grocery store out in Pennsylvania. I think only in Pennsylvania too.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think actually I think they have one store in New Jersey.
Yeah. But Whitney Houston is the queen of pop, arguably, you could say. As everybody knew, she struggled with cocaine and crack addiction. And then she later passed away from accidental drowning, as I was going to say. But, as I said, I found out she was going to be on tour coming up.
Yeah, which is a really odd discovery.
How could a dead person be on tour, Michael? I don't understand that. I never got that. Finds out. We're going to do holograms now, everybody.
Yeah.
Hologram tours.
Honestly, this was a huge money opportunity for people.
Dude, it's huge. Would you... all right, like how long do you think how long do you think this will stay cool? You know what I mean?
It depends how freaky people want to get. I mean, if you want to put Tupac out there, I'm sure that some people will come out and listen to that. I know I probably would.
Well, dude, they did a Coachella Tupac before.
Yeah, I remember them doing that, so it's definitely a possibility.
And they had
especially if you put in real performers with those artists, but it's just crossing of a line of sort of weirdum.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like it's not that person, and you don't know if that person is okay with them doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know Whitney Houston would be cool with other people? Like, who's making the money? Whitney Houston's estate, probably. That's weird.
But what does that entail? Because certain people's estates don't really add up. I know for a fact there's arguing within one of I know a lot of people, actually some people might probably know him. Most people probably know him. Capital Steez. Was arguing with his estate, and that's the reason why his album never will get released, because people are just arguing about the money. That's kind of how it's going to get distributed. And that's honestly, Joey Badass said, might be the reason why they're canceling Steez Day.
Really? They're going to cancel Steez Day?
Yeah, so it was supposedly because of an argument between one of Capital Steez's sisters about the distribution of money.
Well, I feel like they've always kind of been in a feud. Like, ever since Capital Steez passed away, I feel like his family hasn't really been that very open to Pro Era. You know what I mean? Like, they haven't really been so... I don't know. I haven't really read up on the story in a while, but that's what kind of the vibe I got. They've been they don't really know how to feel about the situation, because it's, I don't know, money always fucks something up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it does. But no, back to the holograms.
Yeah, back to the state. Yeah,
because there was I don't know how somebody would feel about this. I don't even know how I would feel about this. It's really weird, because I think somebody has to control you. I think, let me look up the name.
Oh no, that makes it so much more worse.
Well, when Tupac did it at Coachella. You hear me already? It was somebody behind a screen. Like, there was two sets of screens. The one screen was the Tupac, the hologram Tupac. And there was another screen that was blocking that off. And there was a dude behind it with a mic who was all suited up.
I wonder what are the credentials you need for that.
I mean, act like you can. Well, dude, it was just weird though when you're watching it, because it was it was obviously Tupac rapping, but it wasn't the motions Tupac would have made.
You'd be amazed with the amount of technology we have, especially when it comes to holograms. I mean, it's already been proven that people, just your average people, can use technology to basically copy a person's image and use their face along those lines, and as well as that also basically take their voice as well. And we've seen it with that's why some people thought the WikiLeaks guy
Yeah, I remember that.
When some people thought he was dead and some people thought people were just copying, because that technology is readily available.
Yeah. Well, I was looking up like hologram things, dude, and there was this, I think it was in NYC. It was the front of a building in NYC, like all glass windows, and there was a dude jump roping, and it was like showing all like his heart and stuff. Yeah. Bro, it wasn't a person. It was like completely hologram and looked super real. It was so weird. And face recognition too. That shit. Remember like,
oh my God.
Remember 4 years ago when like you'd have an iPhone and your iPhone couldn't read your face. Yeah. And then they finally got the technology to where you can have a hat on, you can have glasses on, anything, and it'll recognize it's you. And from looking at you. So know that your phone's looking at you at all times.
Yeah. And if you have, I know for a fact, if you have a Google or an Android and you have the voice operator active at any point, even when it's deactivated, it will always record anytime you're talking during your Google searches.
My brother texted me one day. He's like, dude, he's like, I think he asked the Google Assistant it's called or something.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He asked the Google Assistant.
What an unoriginal name.
I know, right? Like, let's get real.
We got Siri and you're coming up with Google Assistant.
Exactly, dude. But he asked the Google Assistant, how old am I? Dude, the Google Assistant answered 29. That's how old my brother is. 29. It got him dead on, like instantly, like no, like couple seconds loaded. It was like, boom, I know how old you are right away, which is probably just the cookies.
Yeah, and that's just the tip of the iceberg right there.
Yeah, it just sucks information from your cookies and then figures it all out, but it's still weird.
Yeah.
Dude, like I said, I was telling Michael, I watched The Matrix again last night. Forgot how great that movie was. If you haven't seen The Matrix in a while, go watch it, because it's very, very weird. Because they say in the movie, they're like, Keanu Reeves is like, what happened? What happened? And then he was like, there was a great thing called AI, and AI took over everything.
Yeah.
Dude, bro, it's just so weird. Like now we're doing hologram concerts now, which I feel like is just a money ploy. I don't even feel
do you agree with that? Do you agree with specifically the Whitney Houston going?
I mean, if her estate's cool with it and she wants to do it, I mean, she's dead. She can't really do anything about it.
No.
But
mine's if like one of your favorite rappers came back.
Like if Mac Miller did a hologram?
Imagine if someone did that along those lines. I know that
I'm not saying
that one's a little bit fresh.
I'm not going to say
I'm talking more of like maybe an older person.
Yeah. But like there was another one I looked up. This dude was like Conway Twitty, like Conway Twitty. Remember the Family Guy?
Yes.
Now, dude, speaking of Family Guy, you have to watch new episodes, dude.
Yeah,
maybe I'll give you my Hulu since Mac's girlfriend didn't kick me off that shit, dude.
Should have kept that on the DL, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, she doesn't watch us, so we're fine. But no, the new Family Guys are great. But no, anyways, back to the hologram thing. It was a dude. It was a concert. I can't think of his name. Let me look his name up. But it's like the band's playing, like a whole orchestra's there and shit. And all of a sudden they're like, now introducing, let me find his name. They had like an Elvis one, Roy Orbison. They're like, now introducing Roy Orbison. Yeah. Bro, he just comes up from out of the stage, looks like a real human, just standing there playing his guitar, singing. It looks like scary real, dude. It's so creepy.
Yeah.
But no, like...
Yeah, we really shouldn't try to bring back the dead.
No. Whitney Houston hologram exec talks, cinematic plans for 2020. It's just weird because it's
a
like,
money ploy. That's what it is.
All it is, bro, you can just listen to their music at home and you're going to get the same thing.
Yeah, man. You just feel the spirit. I know it sounds hippie, especially because I said man before that. But yeah, man, you can go listen to the music and feel the soul through the music. But like, that's more responsible than bringing back someone.
Say
like
Mac Miller one day has a hologram concert.
Yeah, people are going to pay. There's going to be a market for it.
Would you go to it?
I wouldn't. Honestly,
you wouldn't go to it?
I think the only one I would go to is Tupac because it's already been done.
I think I would go to Mac Miller just because I've never seen him. And I know I don't know. It's like tricking your brain in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like it's what your brain wants, but
it's not reality. Back to the Matrix. Yeah. That's what that is. Like the dude's sitting there eating a steak and he's like, I know that this steak is just all little fucking computer codings that still makes it taste like steak, but I know it's not real. And it's like, that's what you're getting with this. You know it's not real, but you're still acting as if it was real. It's just weird, dude. It doesn't make any sense, bro. Do you hear about Huawei? What do you think about Huawei?
What's Huawei?
Huawei. It's that cell phone company in...
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Huawei.
Yeah, that's a really weird situation. Google's just sort of cutting off any kind of connection with
I think their phones are banned in the United States because of... Dude, Chinese, they spell shit so weird sometimes, bro. Huawei. Like, I can't find
Huawei.
it. This is one of the most, the United States is like, don't look this up. Don't look this up.
Big brother.
Well, do you think this is Huawei versus Trump? Google bans turn Huawei phones into paperweights. Damn.
Basically, Trump sort of endorsed this deal. It actually is a good move for Google if you're talking about, but it's a loss for like, if you're looking at things of like having a monopoly over in terms of monopolies thing. That's not good.
Which we don't want that.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
But
wink.
also, it's a question. Isn't it just a ripoff of Google? And that's pretty much what the company does.
Well, no, it's not a ripoff of Google. Huawei's like, I want to say China's fucking Apple. Their phones are amazing. Their cameras are amazing. Everything's amazing. But there's been evidence that there's tracking in the phones of like, it sucks all your data out and like, basically, they think it's going to be used in the process of like...
Honestly, if we're going to argue about that, I mean, there's a lot more cases than that we can look at.
Google's nervous that since they ban like all their updates for their phones or like... I guess it's like the maps and stuff and shit like that. They can't... I don't know. Just a bunch of Google stuff they can't use. But now Google's paranoid that all China's going to do is just take their technology and change the name. Because that's what China does.
That's no bueno, man. That's no bueno. And there's a huge market in China for knockoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty common. You see, I'm sure if you watched any kind of Chinese movie growing up that you would see that.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know, bro.
Crazy shit.
It's getting weird with these fucking holograms and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy shit, right? Segue into our next topic. Main topic, the beef. I guess you could say this podcast is going to be about the good old Charles Manson.
Pull up these notes.
Yeah.
Charles Manson was a son bitch.
Yeah.
Son bitch.
Really weird story and sort of... I wouldn't say it's forgotten in today's culture, but I think it's starting to become forgotten. I think it's at that point where people are going to start forgetting about it, especially now that he's dead.
Yeah.
So I think, basically what started off was that Charles Manson's dad wasn't really in the picture, and he impregnated Kathleen Maddox and she had Charles when she was 16 years old. So
young pregnancies back then was like, remember that book with the fucking, what's her name? The girl had to wear like the red A on her shirt because she was a slut and she like fucking had
I don't remember that.
That's what happened like back in the day. They'd put like an A on you if you had a kid when you were young.
That's terrible. But yeah, basically he was passed off to a bunch of varieties babysitters, and his mom started drinking and got charged with robbery, and then he got sent off to different schools, and then he basically started a life of crime.
So you're telling me he had a good childhood? That's what we're getting at?
Crazy story. Charles Manson had a bad childhood.
Dude, I thought he would have had like a white picket fence. Hey, Ted Bundy had a white picket fence life. Yeah. Not really though. It kind of like...
There's always a little something wrong. Yeah. I don't think there's never even if we don't really know it.
Yeah, something's loose.
Yeah, but basically during this time he was housed by his uncle McMention, whatever that. Not really important figure in the story.
Yeah.
But by the way, we're focusing mainly on Charles Manson. We're going to talk about the Manson family, but we're not going to go into the individual details of each family member because that would literally take 10 years. And I don't think you people realize how long it takes to upload a 10-hour video.
Yeah, probably it would take us like a few days, honestly.
Yeah, but anyways, eventually his life moved on, and he was really happy when his mother finally returned in 1942. So this is around World War II, for you historians out there. But he eventually went to Charleston, West Virginia, where he continually played truant, a word I realized looking up this shit.
What does that word mean?
Truant is basically missing school or playing hooky all the time.
Yeah.
So
wait.
If any of you nerds want to get at some of the popular kids, just call
tardy.
Them
Isn't it tardy?
Yeah. Tardy's another word for it.
Trout. That's another word for it though too. Jesus Christ, how many words are for late for school?
Yeah, they really want to drill it in your fucking brain there. Maybe that's why Charles Manson went psychotic.
Dude, maybe he went psychotic because he Maybe he got to go to school, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, in today's day and age, honestly, that's probably the most probable cause for the next Charles Manson. Yeah, but he basically was bounced around, and his mom eventually just didn't even want him and tried to send him off to a foster home. Yeah. But the foster home sort of deemed him not mentally fit, probably, for a home. And then she was kind of forced to take care of him, and she eventually sent him off to a Catholic school where he would break out and steal a car. And then this is all while he was like 16, 17, and he like stole a car, drove back to his mom, and then his mom sent him back there. Yeah. And it was said that he like constantly skipped, and then eventually he would continue on to make friends with really, I don't remember the fucking guy's name. Once again, we're really focused on Charles Manson.
Yeah. What does it make friends with?
Yeah, but anyways, he went on to make friends with this dude and basically continue his life of crime. And he went on to get arrested, and that's sort of where his life really started going downhill. And specifically one incident when he was back at his aunt and uncle's house because his mom didn't really want him. He was caught trying to steal a gun. Yeah. So that's sort of the first like tipping point that they saw. Really. Do
you think people are born with this? Like, do you think people are born crazy? Or do you think, I mean, obviously it's a buildup of shit that's happened in their childhood, but do you think this switch is already there, like in their head?
Yeah, I think to an extent that's true, but I think parenting has more of an override over that. Yeah. I think that there's always going to be negative personality traits in people, but I think when a parent sort of is a bad parent, it exemplifies those bad traits. Yeah. And then brings out the worst in them. And that's when you see people like Charles Manson.
Yeah. Just act like a fucking asshole. No, dude, that's a weird thing too.
Yeah. And then, this continued on until about 1951. He was on a psychiatrist's recommendation sent to National Bridge Honor Camp, a minimum security institution. And then he would go on to rape a boy at knife point there.
Dude, I read that shit.
That's where we're talking where the tipping point is. That's really where it's at.
I was just scrolling through it. I was reading it. And I was like, oh, shit. All right, cool. And then it was like there he committed a further 8 serious... Where is it? Hold on. Yeah, so however, in January, he was caught raping a boy at knife point. Manson was transferred to the federal reformatory in Petersburg, Virginia.
And you know what? Throughout this entire thing, I'm wondering why there isn't more severe consequences for this guy and stuff. Because he continually steals cars and drives them over state lines, which is a federal offense. Yeah. And like, it's insane.
I didn't know that was a offense. That's a pretty bold federal offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then this is back in the day when people weren't really doing that shit. Shout out to the people in Reading for the motorcycle.
Yeah, dude, if you don't live in the city, you don't get this. Yeah. You don't get this. It's bikes. Bikes.
You get this here on the cardboard box theory, but you also get this in any city. So.
But no, dude, it's continuing after he...
Yeah, and then he was basically transferred to Federal Reformatory in Petersburg, Virginia. There he committed further 8 serious disciplinary offenses, 3 involving homosexual acts. He was... I didn't laugh because it was
we're not making fun of gay people. Hold your roll, everybody.
Yeah, well, I just laughed because it was considered a federal offense then. Like,
it's not sad. You got to be like, all right, guys, we're not making fun of it. Calm down.
He was then moved to a maximum security reformatory at Chillicothe, Ohio, where he was expected to remain until his release on his 21st birthday on November 1955. He eventually was released earlier in 1954 because of good behavior.
Good behavior, huh?
Yeah, so maybe he was sort of... This is where I sort of had hope for Manson reading this. Because he eventually went on to get married to a hospital waitress named Roselle Jean Willis.
What is a hospital waitress?
I think at the time that's a great question.
I'm gonna look this up right now. What time was this? 1950?
Yeah, during the 1950s. I think it was someone that just assisted nurses at the time, and that's what they called it.
Yeah. So kind of like a nurse in a way. All right, hold on. Hospital food hostess jobs. No, I'm gonna look up 1950. 1950 was a weird time, dude.
Yeah.
What was a salad?
Was that during the swingers?
Yeah, swingers.
Weird shit, man.
Waitress. Okay, we're just gonna go with that was a nurse because I'm not finding dog shit on this right now, dude. Oh, what's her name again? I want to look her up. I want to see what she looks like. I'm very curious. Dude, Charles Manson's out here getting all these bitches, and I can't even find one, dude. Like, I don't...
Roselli Jean Willis.
Charles Manson.
Rosalie. I think Rosalie would be a lot better way to pronounce that. But yeah, but then he would go on while with her to get charged with operating a stolen vehicle across state lines and serve a 3-year prison sentence in Terminal Island, San Pedro, California. And this is when things went bad.
Very bad.
As if raping a boy at gunpoint wasn't already bad.
Yeah.
But his wife would go and see him, and his mom also moved to San Diego and lived with his wife at the time. And they would go to see him, but after a year, she stopped seeing him. And with his kid, he had a kid with her during this time too. And with his kid, started living with another man.
Yeah.
And just sort of forgot about Manson. And then he tried to steal a car again in prison and was successful, but then got caught.
He stole a car in prison?
Yeah, he tried to. It was an attempt. And then he had to serve a longer time, was eventually released in 1959, where he would go on to divorce.
Yeah.
So you sort of see where the clicks in the head started maybe ticking.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Well, dude, when your mother doesn't want you, that's got to be a very bad feeling.
Yeah, and especially the dad was not even the picture at all. The dad convinced his mom that he was in the army, but because his first name was it was an army term, colonial.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, Colonel. That's what it was, Colonel. I remember that because of The Office, and but. Yeah, but he was, his first name was Colonel, and he convinced Manson's mom that he was part of the army.
Yeah,
and he just left and never came back then.
Sounds about right. Good father figure right there for everybody. Yeah, it's the definition of a great father figure.
Yeah, and Manson would eventually go on to get deadbeat tattooed onto his knuckles.
Nice.
No, I'm not sure.
Really? I would have been surprised, honestly. I would not have been surprised.
The classic move, though.
Charles Manson's son committed suicide, huh? I mean, dude, if my dad was Charles Manson...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I would probably commit suicide, too. Spawn of the devil. Like, that's what you're labeled.
Spawn you don't even really have a choice at that.
Spawn of the devil. Mass killer Charles Manson's bizarre plan to father more children. Did he have a... All right, continue. We'll talk about that then.
Yeah. Yeah, and then after he was released in 1959, he tried to cash some forged checks.
Yeah.
And would serve a 10-year suspended sentence. Now, for those who don't know what a suspended sentence is when you're handed a sentence, but if you do a certain amount of work, you can get out of the sentence. But if you fuck up at any point during that time, you basically get charged with the original crime.
Yeah, I didn't know what that meant either.
Yeah, weird shit.
Yeah.
But he went on, and then he eventually violated his probation, obviously, because he's Charles fucking Manson.
Yeah.
And he went to serve a 10-year prison sentence. I think when he was 32, 16 out of the 32 years he was alive was spent in prison.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, we'll get to it at the end, but he actually advocated to stay in prison because he said it was a safer environment for him because he felt at home there.
Well, dude, that's what happens to a lot of people, I feel like. I feel people go into prison and maybe they get there and they're like, I'm doing a lot better here than I would do in the real world. I'm just going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I know somebody that's actually pretty close to me that's in prison right now. Not really close to me, but I've known him since I was a child, who actually likes prison. I'm not going to name names, but he actually enjoys being in prison.
Yeah, and you sort of, I think definitely in America, you see that because at some parts of America, and I don't think it's like that in other countries just because the prison infrastructures aren't that good, but prisoners in America, I'm not saying they have it great, but some of them see more focused lives in prison.
And they're disciplined, they can do shit, like they get up a certain time, do something, have to go to work.
Yeah.
Real world's hard. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy to be in.
Like, the real world is definitely not like the TV show The Real World.
No, not at all. Not at all. Maybe a little. Kind of.
Yeah.
But you don't get kicked off. Do you get kicked off? Yeah, you do get kicked off The Real World.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think you do. I haven't watched that show in fucking ages.
Honestly, I was just throwing out shade at Real World. I don't know much about The Real World.
I don't know. I used to watch
don't
it.
Judge The Real World.
I used to fuck with The Real. I used to watch Jersey Shore too. No lie. Not the reunion shit though. I can't get into that.
Oh yeah, the reunion shit. But that was just too cheesy at that point.
It's stupid.
Yeah, he then went on to try to appeal this for trying to forge a check and then for violating that probation. He tried to appeal it, and he was then sent back to Los Angeles County Prison. And then this is where he met Barker Kappas, gang leader Alvin Alvin Kappas. He went on to see Alvin Kappas, and he learned to play guitar there basically, and that's what sort of drew him to music at the beginning. Yeah. And he met someone at Universal Studios named Phil Kaufman, so he sort of got a taste of limelight almost to an extent by going to this populated prison in Los Angeles County.
And that's what he wanted too, right? Didn't he want to eventually get into the movie business and stuff like that?
Yeah, and it was said during this time, during the psychic evaluation in this Manson while he was in prison, that he loved drawing attention to himself during this time. I think that eventually led to the psyche of him able to control people psychologically to the point where he can manipulate them to do whatever he wants. And then by the time of his release on March 21st, 1967, he spent more than half of his 32 years in prison and other institutions. This was mainly because he had broken federal laws. Federal sentences were and remained more severe than state sentences. And then, like I said, he actually asked permission to stay, but his permission was denied.
Of course it was.
Could have just kept him in prison.
Can I stay in prison? Nah, man, you gotta get out. We gotta find somebody else to put in here.
Honestly, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Dude, it's like if he felt safer in there, I don't even know safer, but obviously I don't know if we should keep him in prison, but Jesus Christ, dude, like now he's gonna be crazy. Now we get to find out what he did.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at the cult formation. This is basically we're going to give a really brief summary of the family and the murders, and then we're going to dive on into it.
Yeah.
But once discharged from prison, Manson began attracting a group of followers, mostly young women from around California. They were later dubbed the Manson Family. The group was involved in the murder of Garen Hinman in July 1969, then gained national notoriety after the murder actress Sharon Tate and 4 others in their home on August 8th and 9th. In 1969, and Leno and Rosemary LeBlanca the next day. Tex Watson and 3 other members of the family executed the murders, acting under Manson's specific instructions, and they were basically later charged with all of it. They were all given the death penalties pretty much, but California later made a state law that death penalties weren't allowed, so they were converted to life sentences.
Damn. Dude, that's been always fucked up. I watched the whole thing on that on John Oliver. Did you watch that one? Lethal Injection?
No, actually I didn't check that.
Dude, the lethal injection's so fucked up, bro. They don't, when the lethal injection happens, it's not from a doctor or a nurse.
Really? Yeah, I heard doctors have a hard time being consciously doing it.
Well, they legally can't do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because
that's so strange.
You legally can't kill somebody. Even if it's from that, doctors, that's not what doctors are taught to do. So what's happening is people are given these cocktails.
That's an asinine rule.
Yeah, they're giving these cocktails that don't work. So then they'll just die. There was this one dude who got shit injected into him. There was 3 things. The one was supposed to numb his body and make him put something in so he doesn't feel anything. The next one was supposed to paralyze him from the neck down.
What the fuck?
And both of them did neither. And the third one was fire going through your veins, so he felt all of it.
Why didn't it just, at that point, why didn't you just take the gun to the back of the head?
Dude, lethal injections are so bad that 2 dudes in Georgia, I think it was Georgia.
Some people don't die from them.
No, they don't. In Georgia, I think it was either Georgia or Alabama. 2 dudes took to court that they could be done by the electric chair because they knew they would die from that. And they didn't know because they've tried opiates, they've tried everything for the death penalty and nothing works because dude, everybody's body's different. So I didn't know it was that fucked up and how they can't. Dude, people will be sitting there for 45 minutes. It's
crazy what our government chooses to regulate and then chooses not to regulate.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem with America is that we regulate things that we shouldn't and deregulate things that we shouldn't deregulate.
Do you think the death penalty should be a thing? It costs more to do the death penalty than it would to keep them in prison for life.
This is another one of those cases where I think it's more of I think it's more of a person to person basis. So we should just let states decide what it is. I don't think there should be a definite ruling. So if you, potentially if you thought a state thought a particular person warranted the death penalty and some of the charges happened in another state that does have the death penalty, maybe that would be another way out of it. I'm not sure, but.
Do you think that there should be a death penalty though?
Yeah, I think states should have the ability to choose that.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily, honestly, I don't really care if there is.
Yeah. I don't know. I used to think there should be. And then I'm dude, John Oliver made a great point. He's like, this isn't humane at all. Like, this is
I don't agree with that. If lethal injections are going to do that, I don't agree with it.
Like, what they did wasn't humane, but we're stooping down to their level, basically, to try to kill them.
And don't even really need to. There's plenty ways to easily kill someone.
Yeah.
And why not just let a doctor distribute it?
Because they legally,
that is so.
Doctors are not. That's why it's like, it's kind of like, then why the fuck are we doing this if doctors?
Yeah, why are we doing this in the first place then?
It's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah,
There was one prison that a dude brought in his own drugs to get executed by. Brought in his own drugs. No, I think they said if he could get his own drugs, then they could execute him by that. But he's like, bro, I can't go get drugs. I'm in jail.
Yeah.
So he couldn't do it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. But back on to the Mansons. After he was released from prison for petty crimes in 1967, the Manson family moved to San Francisco, where he later deserted the ranch in San Fernando Valley. Manson's followers also included a small, devout unit of mostly impressionable young women. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Already went over that. But yeah, no, that was actually getting into his prophecies of race, and that's sort of where people really hate him.
Yeah,
and I don't blame him. He's a terrible person, but he wanted to basically start a race war.
Which is crazy. War. That's what he was going for all throughout this.
Yeah, and that's why to try to start a race war, he tried to kill rich, prominent white people.
Yeah.
And then he thought, in his mind, that this would cause a race war because they would assume that black people are doing it, and then they would hide out in what they considered to be a sort of an underground unit at one of their hideouts, and it's insane. And he gets really, I know this is sort of not, it's off topic from him, but it's with topic, but he really got into the Beatles, and he sort of formulated this whole cult around sort of some of the Beatles songs.
Yeah. Well, the hallucinogenic drugs didn't help either.
Oh yeah.
100 of his followers who lived on unconventional lifestyle with habits, use of hallucinogenic drugs, which, dude, when you're doing hallucinogenic drugs like that all the time, and especially back in the 60s, the 60s hallucinogenic drugs, acid was like 500, I forget what it's called, milligrams or something. It's not milligrams. It's something, though, that nowadays it's only I think 20, and back in the day it was 500. So it was fucking quadruple the dose now. So it was way stronger than it is now. Obviously they had mushrooms too, probably, but
yeah, there's so many drugs like that are so much stronger now.
But dude, I've never seen hallucinogenics as a convincing drug, which is so weird. I don't know.
I think it was more the mind state he filled him in, because especially with his first girlfriend we were about to get into, he convinced her to live with 18 other women with him.
Yeah.
And that to sort of convince someone of that in the time where really that was sort of unheard of.
Yeah.
Was wow.
Exactly. It's insane. That's Mormons right there.
Yeah.
Shout out Mormons. pimpin' legally.
Yeah. But but the brief summary about the Manson family, basically it's just a group of 100 people that basically rode his dick, and they actually believed that he was Jesus.
Yeah. Which we'll get into that then too.
Yeah,
because then while he's living in San Francisco, the family's formed. Where are we at here?
Yeah. It's basically how the Manson family formed. Going into detail about it now is living in San Francisco by mostly begging. He soon got to know Mary Berner, a 23-year-old graduate of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Berner worked as a library assistant at the University of California, and then basically they went on to met and talk, and then he basically dated her. They lived together, and then he broke her resistance to other women and started living with 18 other women, and all these women basically worship Manson. And it was said and quoted by his mom that he was a womanizer.
First question, where do you get the room for 18 women to live? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's really weird about that is he was living in San Francisco. So at the time, that's sort of when hippies were really hippin'.
That's all it was, yeah.
Really hippin'.
Fucking in the streets hippies. Those type of hippies.
Bestiality type
I don't think I could live in that time, dude. I always used to say when I was younger, I'd love to live in the 60s, bro. No, I wouldn't have. I would have actually probably hated living in the 60s, dude.
No, I can't. Greased up hippies smoking
taking
weed.
LSD all the time, dude. That sounds awful.
Stay off the weed.
Like taking LSD all the time sounds cool for like a year, and then it's like, all right, I'm gonna fucking probably die. Not die, but like, dude, that's just I don't know, dude.
Good idea.
I don't know. The fucking 60s were weird, bro. I used to want to live in the 60s, and I'm like, I'd rather live in like,
especially I know what's scary about the 60s.
I'd rather live
murder
now.
a motherfucker and get away.
Yeah, I'd rather live now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather live in this day and age.
As much as this day and age sucks, it's also great.
Yeah, we live in the best time of ever.
It was the best of times.
It was the worst of times.
That's actually our new plug, our new company, best of times and worst of time. Try new merchandise.
Yeah, you just gotta go to the website and hashtag cardboard box theory. Eventually we'll be saying that. Give it like a couple years probably.
Call the number 1-800 go fuck yourself. But basically it's basically a brothel at the Manson estate at that point.
You think he was pimping him out like on a scale? You think
he actually was involved in pimpery, and that's actually what pimpery.
You think he had like a nice chain walking around?
No, he actually did get arrested. That was one of the reasons he got arrested, but he actually convinced the woman that he was pimping to like on trial stand up for Manson.
See, I thought he was doing prostitution. That's what when I was reading that, I was like, damn, he was sucking dick too on the side.
Which is weird is that he did these homosexual acts and like raped a boy at knife at gunpoint. Yeah. And now he's going to a whole linen.
Dude, I feel like the 60s was anything you put your dick in. You know what I mean? Like,
you see that rusty cannibal tomatoes down there?
Dude, I feel like that's all the 60s was like swingers, anything, dude. Like too much drugs, whatever happened.
Yeah.
AIDS.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Honestly, can we really blame the government? Now, we're looking back at this, can we blame the government for implementing AIDS to hippies?
Was it the government that implemented AIDS?
No, I don't know.
Probably was. Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, but they did put in cocaine to Baltimore. And some people think that's also heroin. The birth spot of AIDS. So.
American Gangster. Watch American Gangster.
Yeah, but anyways, Manson went on to basically continue on and gain enthusiasts, and he was able to convince 18 of these women, actually he was able to convince 8 or 9 of the 18 women to basically follow him on a bus, and they basically traveled around the entire country together.
Yeah.
So it was basically a bus of an orgy. They went to New Mexico, Texas, Virginia. They went all over the place together.
Dude, and it's so 60s of them to get a van and go travel. And
yeah, they tricked it out. Actually, at one of his specific preachings, he was actually auditioned for a role of Jesus Christ, but didn't get it. And then he went on set to try to like help the person play the role. Damn. And the movie director actually came out and said that he actually did stuff that like Jesus would do. And like one particular scenario, someone was questioning why he had so many like riches on his bus, because his bus was tricked out, had expensive rugs, it was design grade and everything, and he gave the person the keys to the bus and let him drove off about it and was completely unbothered by it.
Damn, dude. Holy shit,
he
bro.
Actually commonly made his followers hitchhike, and actually during one of the last murders, the murders that he instructed, which were the most brutal ones, he only drove back to their hideout by himself and then made his followers hitchhike after they murdered someone.
That's a smart idea, because I mean, 4 women hitchhiking on the side. How many was like 4 or 5 women that went to go do the murders?
Yeah,
or 3 or something. Just hitchhiking on the side of the road.
One guy
covered in blood, probably.
Yeah, there's no way. We'll get into the gruesome details of this murder in a bit, but that shit is fucked up.
Dude, it is. It's really crazy. Cults, dude, the cults just, the whole aspect of a cult, of someone being able to change your mind and to fucking like get you a part of a group that it's mostly
like a mindset. It's almost like if you can consider a lot of things a cult, it's just to what extent people take it.
Religion. But no.
Democrats, Republicans.
Exactly.
It's almost like a cult.
That is.
They refuse to get out of a mindset and what they believe.
Dude, that's a very good point. I never thought of it like that. But no, people say like cults are for only people that are very vulnerable and easy to fucking like convince. I don't feel like that goes for all the time. I feel like even if a smart, intelligent person meets somebody that's like breathtaking, or like you ever meet somebody and you just feel like there's something about them that's like, I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, you even see that the guy who made Manson Manson's website for him in 1976 after Manson went on trial for all these murders and everything. Actually became a follower in prison, a grown man. So that actually plays true to your theory that it can happen to anyone.
Exactly, dude. It's ridiculous. But no, continuing.
Yeah, but basically this is where it gets crazy. For anyone that watches stuff they don't want you to know, this is where it gets crazy. my people will know what that is. but yeah, the events that would accumulate in the murderers were set in motion late spring of 1968 when, by some accounts, Dennis Wilson of the Beach Boys. Give me the Beach Boys, free my soul.
Dude, I couldn't believe that when I was reading that, too.
Yeah, but yeah, he picked up 2 hitchhiking Manson women, but we're just going to skip the names because honestly, there's an extreme amount of names, and there's over 100 followers. If you want to go look it up, it's pretty much free information at any library or Google if you're a normal human being, but...
I don't think you're going to a library.
Yeah, even if you're in the library, you can just Google it and it'll probably be faster. But... yeah, basically, he picked up these women and let them stay the night, one of these Manson family women. And when he returned back from a recording session the very next day, Manson was sitting at the front of his driveway, surrounded by all the Manson followers. And when he approached him, the Beach Boys member, Dennis Wilson, asked if he was going to kill him.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you see a fucking cold in front of you, and Manson went down and actually kissed him on his feet. And then they went on to actually become friends, and Manson actually recorded some songs with him with the help of him. And it's really insane. They started living.
Yeah, didn't all the girls start living in the house?
Yeah.
And Manson would hang out with Wilson, and then the girls would be their servants basically all the time.
Yeah.
Sex tapes basically is what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I mean, and they'd probably clean the house, all that good shit, but...
And not only that, they were also like, there's countless cases of some of the women crashing cars and like not having to really pay for it. And like in one particular instance, I think they recklessly caused a fire that cost them like 26 grand.
Jesus Christ.
Most of their cost from living there actually came from these incidents.
Damn, dude.
So
could you imagine that if you get home, you're like, oh, what a great day recording today. Like say we leave here and I just go to my mom's house or something. Yeah. I pull up in the driveway and there's like a dude with like 30 women just standing there waiting for me. I'll be like, this could be a good time. This could be a very bad time. I don't know what's going to happen here.
Maybe you think you converted to Islam on the way home at some point and you're getting your virgins.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe you died and you got to heaven. That's what I would think about pulling up. Like, damn, I must have died and gone to heaven right now. Unless it was not. It was just a shit show. Like, it was just not a fun time.
Yeah, for anyone wondering, the Manson women weren't. They ranged in cuteness from all levels. I'm not a judge of that. Just
let me look this up quick. I want to see cuteness, Manson. I know this is something we should. Nah, you know what? You can judge a girl. You can judge. Dude, you know what? Pet peeve real quick. We're going to cut the brakes for a second. All we're talking about is we're raised. Never judge a book by its cover. Never judge a book by its cover. That's all we do now. So
yeah, that's literally what humans do. It's like, terrible.
It's ridiculous. But no, sorry, continuing.
No, you're good. But yeah, like we said, one of them, they had to pay 21 grand for the treatment of gonorrhea. To basically expel gonorrhea from the Manson family.
Was that like I thought it was like one person. I was like, is that like the fucking first case of gonorrhea, dude?
I wouldn't be that surprised. Yeah, but Christ. He eventually would get on to get kicked out. But at this time, and this is a really important key, he met a guy named Terry Melcher.
Yeah.
Now, Terry Melcher is important, well, a little bit down the notes, but Terry Melcher is important because this is sort of where Manson came into attack and tried to murder someone, because Melcher would eventually offer Manson to record his music for his group, because what Manson believed is that it was their job to make music that would incite a race war and get it popular and then start the race war that way.
Did Wilson know that was his...
No, Manson was able to like cover it up and like make it like reasonable, but like he was also like a really, to everyone's account, a really genuinely nice person during this time.
Which is weird.
Yeah, but like at this point when he like promised these things and then didn't come through, that's when Manson went crazy and he went to one of his old houses where he lived and like tried to get in and like talk to the people multiple times on different occasions, and then he would eventually go on to murder someone at Melcher's old house thinking that Melcher lived there.
Yeah. Wasn't it a black dude that they thought was supposedly with the Black Panthers?
Yeah, that was the very first murder. Yeah, they actually put a paw on for that one,
which really is ridiculous. Oh, I was going to say something, I forget. Go ahead. I'll think about it.
Yeah, but in the first days of November 1968, after they got kicked out by the Beach Boys manager, Manson established the family alternative headquarters at Death Valley's Inversions. This is when he became obsessed with the Beatles, basically.
Yeah, dude, I want to look at this up quick. Why the book Catcher in the Rye caused like John Lennon to be killed? Because I don't know what it was back then with musician groups. I don't know if it was like, because that was the first time that's ever...
but some people looked too deep into him and like took a meaning from it that maybe wasn't intended.
Well, they were all doing hallucinogenics.
And radicalized it, yeah.
So the Beatles were doing hallucinogenics and having like these crazy visuals and seeing all this stuff. Then they put it into their music basically. And then other people were hallucinating and seeing like, I don't know, it's only a few, I don't know. It was weird. Like how strong hallucinogenics were back then is a goddamn problem. Like, it's
definitely.
I feel like that was a huge...
no one knew anything about them.
No, I feel like that was a huge reason why people like, because they got obsessed with them. Then there was a few caused because Helter Skelter, which isn't even that good of a fucking song.
Helter Skelter. Yeah, that's the whole thing that basically Manson based the entire race war off of because he thought that's what that song was about.
Yeah, race war. Which is crazy.
Race war.
And if you listen to the Beatles, number 9, no, I should make that the intro song. Number 9.
I actually know that song. That song's really drifty.
Song. Number 9. But yeah, what inspired Catcher in the Rye? Blah, 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 blah. Why did John Lennon die? Oh, thanks. No, we can. All right, let's keep going. Hold on.
Rest in peace, John Lennon, though.
I'm trying to figure out, is Catcher in the Rye an assassination trigger? After Mark David Chapman shot and killed John Lennon, he commonly opened up Catcher in the Rye, proceeded to read it before being apprehended. John Hinsery, the man who attempted to kill Ronald Reagan, also was in possession of the book. It is also allegedly Harvey Oswald was quite fond of the book, though is disputed. Damn, dude. I forget what Catcher in the Rye is about. Didn't we read Catcher in the Rye?
I'm not sure.
I think we did, dude.
What is it about?
I'm trying to... Why is Catcher in the Rye... Let me look up a queef summary.
Please bequeath me the summary. If you ever want to use queef in a sentence, bequeath is a word.
Bequeath. So, if you want to use the word queef. Spark Notes helped me through high school. Catcher in the Rye is set around 1950s and is narrated by a young man named Halden Caulfield. Halden is not specific about his location while he's telling a story, but he makes it clear that he's an underdog undergoing treatment in a mental hospital or sanatorium. The events he narrates take place a few days between the end of the fall school term and Christmas when Holden is 16 years old. Holden's story begins on Saturday. Takes place in Pennsylvania.
Hey, shout out to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, he failed 4 classes. All right, so the dude's a failure.
Psychotic.
Yeah, on the train in New York City. And he observes, after smoking a couple of cigarettes, he calls Faith a woman who he never met. So it sounds like he basically killed somebody.
Yeah, it's probably inspired other assassinations along those lines because he was a psychopath and other psychopaths are drawn to psychopathic material.
Dude, Spark Note's been stepping it up. Holding us in here and telling.
Hey, they got to adapt with the times. Millennials are demanding more now.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, they are. All right, let's continue with on the Charles Manson murder.
Back to the psychopath.
Murder.
Murder is what she wrote.
Yeah.
Murder. But for some time, like we said, Manson was saying that racial tension between blacks and whites was growing, and soon the blacks would rise up and start a rebellion in American cities. And then he basically said that the Beatles, the White Album songs that in code were basically directed at the Manson family, and that he was meant to start this race war that supposedly what he thought the album was about.
Yeah.
And then in early January 1969, the family basically got out of the desert and positioned itself in L.A. and they still had the other places, and also one of the major spots was Spawn Ranch, which we'll revisit again too. Their family members prepared for an impending apocalypse, and like we said, helter-skelter.
Yeah.
And by January, Manson's vision was complete, and the family would create an album whose songs, as subtle as those of the Beatles, would trigger and predict the chaos. Ghastly murders of whites by blacks would be met with retaliation, and a split between racist and non-racist whites would yield white self-annihilations, blacks to triumph, and then he believed that the Manson family could triumph over the blacks.
Dude, drugs are a hell of a thing, people. Watch your shit.
Yeah, holy shit. Yeah, this is gonna deter anyone from using drugs.
Yeah, or Artie Lang's nose. So you see Artie Lang's nose? You know who Artie Lang is? He's a comedian. You've probably seen him on Mad TV a few times.
Maybe.
I'll put a picture up of his mugshot then. I'll show you after the podcast.
Ooh, the mugshot.
This shit's brutal.
Putting some disrespect on his.
Dude, I know. I feel bad when I post a mugshot of somebody. Because it's like,
this is just their low point.
Yeah, it's like, fuck, bro. Dude, this is fucked up right now. TMC. All right, continuing. Fun part starts now.
Yeah, the beginnings of the murder.
Yeah.
You want to read it?
By June 1969, Manson was telling the family that they might have to show blacks how to start helter-skelter. When Manson tasked Watson, a Texan Manson helped back when the family established the Spawn Ranch with obtaining money supposedly intended to help the family prepare for the conflict. Watson defrauded a black drug dealer named Benedard Latza.
Yeah, this is the guy he met through the Crow guy we mentioned in prison way earlier that we couldn't really pronounce his name.
Yeah.
This is how he met.
Lots of Papa. That's what... He had to be a big dude.
Yeah, the guy's nickname was Lots of Pop, and that's who they tried to kill.
Can we just talk about how great of a nickname that is?
Yeah.
Lots of Papa? God damn, dude. That's a great nickname.
Lots. Yeah.
Crow responded with...
He had to be at least a little bit big.
Dude, he had to be huge. Yeah. I mean, it sounded...
He had to be a Lots of Papa.
Biggie Smalls or Lots of Papa? Which would have been a name for Biggie Smalls?
Honestly, Biggie Smalls should have been his second alias. Like Tupac had Machiavelli.
Yeah.
Biggie Smalls should have been Lots of Papa. And that's...
Lots of Papa.
He would just strictly make romantic, like, be sort of like Mac Miller's Larry Lovestein.
Yeah. Or like Ron Swanson's fucking... I can't think of what he does. Ron Swanson plays like a fake he plays saxophone and nobody knows it's actually him. But anyways, Crow responded with a threat to wipe out everyone at Spawn Ranch. Manson countered on July 1st, 1969 by shooting Crow at his Hollywood apartment.
Yeah, and this is sort of, you have to also realize the time and place. DNA wasn't really a established technology during the early 70s and late 60s. So murders, especially out in deserts and more like extreme rural areas, were not really commonly solved.
But you want to hear something crazy, bro? So my brother was on a bike ride yesterday with a bunch of people. They did a group ride through Reading. Found a dead body on the mountain bike path.
Whoa.
Well, my brother rides like every day. It was a decomposed body that somebody was shot in the back of the head.
Jesus.
Dude, I think a bunch of teens found it too.
That has to be fucking traumatizing.
Yeah. I live in the city of Reading. You just don't know where. And if you want to come find me.
You want to see a dead body?
You might see a dead body. So. Because Reading is not I tell people.
We're packing over here.
I tell people, hey, I live in Reading. They're like... Where? I'm like, oh my God, dude. It's fucking calm down. Like, it's not a bad spot at all. Don't worry about it.
People sometimes people get so like jitsy about it. Like
people get weird when you see guns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, continuing.
Yeah, no one's gonna come up and just be like, yo.
No. Or murder me.
Yeah.
Hey, if that happens, that happens. Some dude was just killed in our area that lived in the whitest neighborhood in the goddamn county and was shot and killed.
Fate's fate.
Yeah, exactly. Fate's fate.
Yeah, but Manson's belief that he had killed Crow was seemingly confirmed by a news reported discovery of a body dumped by a Black Panther in Los Angeles. Although Crow was not a member of Black Panthers, Manson concluded that he had been and expected retaliation for the Panthers. Also, Crow did not actually die during this.
Yeah, I read that.
Successful robbery, and Crow actually did not die.
So he didn't die.
No, my bad. Yeah, my bad for previous.
Well, no, I read it.
That,
I read it at the end because I read this at the end and I was like, he didn't die then.
Yeah, he actually didn't die, and Manson just assumed that he died.
So he was good then. So
yeah, but Crow just never responded. I guess because he didn't want to fuck with a cult.
He probably knew.
Yeah,
he probably was like, I'm not going to the cops. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just going to die if I do that. All right. Gary Allen Hinman was the next victim. He befriended members of the Manson family, with some staying at his home on occasion. Manson was under the impression that Hinman had considerable stocks and bonds and owned his property. Believing that he was wealthy, Manson sent family member Bobby Belushi along with Mary Bruner and Susan Atkins to Hinman's home on July 25th, 1969 to convince Gary to join the family, which included turning over the assets. Manson thought Hinson had inherited.
Yeah, so he thought this guy had a shit ton of riches when in reality he wasn't that rich a guy. Don't get me wrong, he was still on some guap, about 21 grand, 25 grand.
Which is pretty good back in 1969.
Yeah, so that's a hefty stack of cash, but it's not like
it's
millions.
No. The three held the uncooperative Hinman hostage for 2 days, during which Manson showed up with a sword to slash his ear. Ooh. All right, young Mike Tyson up in this bitch.
Mike Tyson up in this bitch.
After that, the dude, I can't pronounce his name, stabbed Hinman to death on Manson's instruction. Ooh. That's where it gets fishy. Before leaving the Topana Canyon residence, Belushi, or one of the women, used Hinman's blood to write "political piggy" on the wall and to draw a panther paw, a Black Panther symbol.
So they basically were trying to look like the Black Panthers did it, and which was a really hotbed political issue in the 70s was the Panthers.
Yeah.
And we know the government actively, the CIA specifically, tried to stop the rise of the Black Panthers, but that's another story for another day. But
yeah,
you can sort of get it that Panthers were prominent, a problem. They wanted to start to drive that hysteria to sort of create a race war.
Yeah.
And this was the first murder in acting that out. And he sort of convinced them to do whatever he want, because at some point they just literally believed he was Jesus.
Yeah, which is crazy. We'll get into that then too. That's really interesting to me. All right. On the night of August 8th, 1969, Manson directed Watson to take Susan Atkins, Linda... Yep, there's three other women here.
Yeah, we'll call them Susan, Lyndon, and Patricia.
Yeah, Terry Melcher's former home, and kill everyone there. The home had only recently been rented to celebrity couple Sharon Tate and director Roman Polanski. Polanski was away in Europe working on a Day at the Beach, which sounds like a great movie, which he would later end up only producing.
That sounds like a relaxing ass movie for such a serious topic.
Yeah. Manson told the three women to do as Watson told them. The family members proceeded to kill the 5 people they found. Ooh. Actress Sharon Tate, who with this dude, this is probably the most fucked up part of the podcast, who was 8 months pregnant. Her unborn child was also killed. That is the most disgusting thing, dude.
Yeah, at that point, that just crosses. I mean, if they didn't already cross the fucking line of murder in the first guy.
Who was living here at the time, Jay Sherbling, Abigail. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the girl's name Abigail. I don't know. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that's named Abigail. I don't hate you, but I don't know. I think I equate it with somebody that was in high school named that. I don't really.
Hey.
It's
just a name. It's just a name.
Abigail Flauger and Wojin Fritzia. There's no way.
Wojciech Frykowski.
Yeah, who were visiting her, and Stephen Parent, who had been visiting the caretaker of the home. Atkins wrote "pig" in blood on the front door as they left. The murders created a national-wide sensation. This is where everything went downhill for Manson. Yeah. He really fucked up here and shouldn't have did what he did here, but
yeah, and this is sort of when you see the media sort of get a really hard wiener for it.
Yeah.
And this is sort of when it exploded.
Well, this is what he wanted, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he got the fame he wanted.
Yeah, this is what he wanted.
All right, the next night, on August 9th, 1969, the 6 family members were, every family member that's not important, I'm just going to call them member, and 4 other previous from the night, so members.
Yeah, exactly.
And drove out on Manson's orders, displeased by the panic of the victims at CeeLo Drive. So the victims were panicked, and Manson just didn't think they really did that good of a job. Manson accompanied the 6 followers to show them basically how to kill them properly. He basically drove around for a couple hours and eventually settled on going to the guy we talked about earlier, Welcher's old house. Now, the same people weren't living here anymore, so... But he eventually decided to go to that house, and And then this is where it sort of gets gory.
Yeah.
And these murders were particularly gory and horrifying, including details such as Watson carved "war" on the man's exposed abdomen,
which is crazy.
So he literally man's abdomen,
yeah,
carved "war" into that shit.
Mm-hmm. Which is ridiculous. That's insane.
Just not really nice stuff.
No, dude, brutal way to go out. Brutal way.
And also another gruesome detail of this murder was they killed, just for information, they just killed the people at the house.
Yeah.
And I think the people at the house happened to be prominent, wealthy people, because this was a wealthy community they were in.
You can't kill wealthy people and expect to get away with it either. That's the thing. It's just crazy.
Yeah, even in the 70s. And then when also another gruesome detail is why Watson, who was another prominent member, Watson was a Texas man. He was one of the guy followers of Manson, and he was basically Manson's right-hand man. He showed Manson the Beatles, and he was basically jerking him off.
He probably was.
Yeah, no joke. And then he basically cleaned off the bayonet and took it into one of the women and started writing stuff all over with the bayonet of blood, such as Rise Up, Helter Skelter, and Race War. And another specifically gruesome detail was one of the members actually forced Leno LeBlanco, that was one of the people that got murdered, to have puncture wounds with an ivory-handed 2-tin carving fork.
Jesus Christ.
So basically,
dude.
like you can imagine like a ocean god's pitchfork jammed to this woman, and she also left this jutting out of her stomach, like coming out, like protruding through her stomach, and she also planted a steak knife in the lady's neck before they left.
Jesus Christ, dude.
So they're definitely dead.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that was the LeBlanca murders. But now going on to the trial. Before the trial, they were basically starting in October 1969. Manson and his followers were arrested at a remote location called Barker Ranch in a position of auto theft. So originally they weren't even arrested for this, and they actually let go of this because of a lack of evidence.
Yeah.
And then eventually they figured out who did it, because it was hard to keep that massive of an operation secret.
Oh, yeah, with that many people too?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, basically a biker gang helped snitch out Manson, and after an LA sheriff interviewed him, and then basically it was a guy named Springer who said, and then Springer is the guy who ratted on Manson, and he said about killing people days of the Tate murder. Manson told him about it, and he told the federal authorities that.
Yeah.
And then Watson, who was Manson's right-hand man, was apprehended. All these people were basically indicted, and then that's when the trial begins. And this is when it gets weird. Manson arrived in court with an X on his forehead.
Yeah, all of them did, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think most of them did, too. Manson appears in court with an X carved into his forehead. Manson and his followers carved an X on their foreheads to show that they had been X'd out of society. Manson would soon just use a swastika to show his true intentions.
Yeah, so basically the X was just basically designed to start a race war.
Yeah.
But the idea of to say they were X'd out of society, because their belief was that during this race war they would go underground, and when they were underground, they were supposed to be considered to be, according to their religion, which was followed strict Roman guidelines, actually.
Yeah.
And but this religion, basically, he forget where I was going with that.
Just talking about the religion, his religion that he was going with.
What I was saying.
Yeah, we can just continue on.
Yeah.
But anyways,
that's what they drew, the X's on their foreheads, and their religion basically stated that they wanted to start a race war and hide underground. Yeah, this is what I was saying, and they wanted to be in a race war and be hidden underground, so that after the blacks took over, they could basically come up and dominate. And basically that X and that swastika was to symbolize them being underground.
Yeah.
Eventually he would go in court. He would eventually go on to defend himself. The family members that didn't murder anyone actually lingered outside the courthouses and tried to convince people testifying against Manson to not. Even threatening some of them.
Yeah.
And then Manson consistently tried to get other members of the Manson family to testify on his behalf, and he even got successfully some of them to fabricate some of their stories so he could avoid the gas chamber.
Damn, dude. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and then eventually, obviously, they would all go on to get charged with it. Watson a year later, and then the death penalty got abolished.
Yeah.
So
then they lived life in prison.
Yeah.
Charles Manson died of a heart attack, colon cancer, November 19th, 2017.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, really piece of shit. I mean, in retrospect, from all the murders and everything that happened, I mean, even afterwards, they murdered a military general named James L.T. Willett and his wife, and particularly gruesome murders because they made him dig his own grave. And then as they were digging his own grave and he finished it, they made him stick his hand outside the grave and then shot him in the head. And they did the same thing with his wife as well.
Jesus Christ, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, I know. But this podcast gets a little bit morbid sometimes.
Hey, man, we got to talk about some good stuff.
Yeah.
See, Charles Manson is huge. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
Big time. Big picture.
Big. All right, we're going to end on a boxer that is suing Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z, Rockefeller, Rock Nation, being a piece of shit here. A retired boxer... Name of, where's he at? Boxer Daniel Franco sues Jay-Z and Rock Nation after sports suffering brain injury.
Yeah, it's our ending topic, by the way. That's why we just ended it.
Daniel Franco, professional boxer, was forced into retirement after a brutal, near-fatal brain injury. He did have a brain injury. Has sued Jay-Z, Live Nation, and Rock Nation Sports for negligence. The blast reports and court documents viewed by Pitchfork confirm. The lawsuit claims that Franco asked Rock Nation Sports, his promoter, to postpone a scheduled fight on March 23rd, 2017. He says he has been he was sick, basically. He had the flu.
Yeah.
And then he went and fought, lost that fight, went and did another fight May 12th. I think he lost that fight. Then he did a third fight June 10th. Got knocked out really bad. Suffered a fatal near brain hemorrhage.
Holy shit.
Which left him in a coma. Had a piece of his skull removed in surgery and now is required to wear a helmet to protect the left side of his head. I've witnessed all this in my lifetime with one of my friends. According to the lawsuit, it was later discovered that he suffered 2 skull fractures and a separate brain bleed from one of the other fights.
Holy shit.
And then he had a brain infection too. He's doing great though. But Rockefeller won't pay his fucking bills.
Yeah, so fuck Rockefeller.
If he has a GoFundMe quick, I can link you guys to.
Yeah, but yeah, fuck Rockefeller, Rock Nation for that shit, man.
And Jay-Z will not pay any of it, which is ridiculous. I'm trying to see if I can find the GoFundMe.
Yeah, that's terrible, man.
No,
some finishing notes on the Manson family too. They also they tried to murder Henry Ford.
Yeah.
Assassination attempt. So
that's pretty fucking crazy too.
Yeah.
Imagine if they would have done that. How different times would have been.
Yeah.
Now.
Manson did a bunch of interviews and shit, and he would go on to like close out his life, and really nothing special.
Yeah.
At the end, he's kind of waste of a man.
Married a weird lady. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah, I think it was like a fangirl or something.
Yeah,
really
it was.
Strange.
Who was like our age, which is really funky.
Yeah, but overall, what do you think about the Manson family?
Oh, they were fucked up. It was really weird time back then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like there was a lot more cults back then because there wasn't.
Do you think it could happen again?
Oh yeah, it's already happening. I feel like there's already cults. I want to see if there's like known cults in the United States.
Yeah, you sort of have cults. Some people think the Rock Nation boy Jay-Z. Throw it up. Illuminati.
Well, dude,
some people think he's part of a cult too. It's crazy, the stigma about it now.
The other one...
Well, I guess it wouldn't be stigma, but...
Scientology, like that's a cult, dude. There's no way that's not a cult.
Yeah.
Cults in America. No, that's from 1993. I don't think there's that many more cults now, but the Ku Klux Klan's technically, the Church of Scientology, People's Temple, the Westboro Baptist Church is probably the shittiest one, dude. They're terrible. West Baptist Borough Church.
Yeah. That thing is like insane. They're fucking crazy.
They're gross. All right, let's wrap this bitch up.
Yeah. Check out that GoFundMe for that boxer.
Yeah, check it out. I'll put the link in my description then for you guys to go check it out. So that was the 54th episode of the Cardboard Box Theory. Bye.
Later.
Boom. Hour 10. Here, let's just do the intro quick. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What the hell's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cardboard Box Theory.
Hello.
54, huh, Michael?
Yeah, number 5, 4.
Brian Urlacher all day. All day, baby.
Yeah, we're tackling multiple issues on this one. First up on the menu, hologram Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
Really weird. Think it's like ethical or not. And then the meat of this podcast was about the Manson family. We go into details, sort of just do a timeline of their entire events. And then we wrap it up with a really weird case with Rock Nation and a boxer. So
Jay-Z being a piece of shit. So
yeah, stay tuned.
Enjoy, guys. Bye.